Hello everyone, and today is of course a big day. The announcement, well, the proper announcement of Lords of the End Times, the brand new DLC, which is absolutely huge. So, I've had a little bit of access to the DLC, there's a video out already, and I want to talk about everything that's coming on the 24th of September. This is going to be the usual bundle, so you'll be able to get discounts once again. Now, I haven't been able to play all the DLC. It was just literally the Boris Todbringer section for 10 turns as the video prior. So let's talk about all the information presented in the blog and the, well, stupidly large roster. There is a lot of stuff being added in, a bunch of units and a bunch of legendary heroes. So we'll start off with Nagash, and there is a decent amount to talk about. So Nagash's vision is to amass the legions of undead warriors, erect vast necropolises to his own glory, and transform the world into a vast land of the dead. In doing so, he gathers dark energy, empowering his arcane Black Pyramid to unleash the true potential of his forces. To aid him, he must gather the 9 Mortarchs, his lieutenants in the trials to come, and reclaim the lost books of Nagash to become the mightiest spellcaster the world has ever seen. Only when the world lies in ruin before him will his final form be realized, ascension to godhood. So this is all basically just the end times plot. It's kind of funny again that we're going for the books of Nagash. There's so many characters that do that, but it makes sense. And yeah, I mean, 9 Mortarchs, they're all going to be showcasing in various different ways, as we're aware. It's going to be kind of cool to finally see the big bone daddy himself. Battle playstyle, we do have a little bit of information here. So Nagash is a supremely powerful spellcaster who wields the Law of Undeath in battle, though he can access many more spells from other laws as the books of Nagash are returned to him. So just extra spells here and there. I wonder if they're going to go in a similar way to how Kairos did it, where he's got access to so many different laws. He can raise units from the complete range of undead rosters, including Tomb Kings, Vampire Counts, and Vampire Coast, making his armies uniquely flexible in battle depending on their composition. In addition, he may recruit the following new units. We'll talk about that in just a second. The big thing here is, of course, it's following the End Times lore, not the End Times tabletop. In the tabletop, it was only Vampire Counts and the Tomb Kings, because the Vampire Coast had not had any relevant rules since 6th edition. So it's nice to see that happening, especially as like anyone who's read the End Times will know. The Vampire Coast do show up fairly often, actually. It's kind of nice. Now, army roster, we do have a lot of detail here. So Legendary Lord is Nagash. 2 legendary heroes, one being Dieter Hellschnitt and the other being Wallach Harken, 2 vampires. Bit of a shame that there's no character for the Tomb Kings here, but you never know in the future. There is still a decent amount of content to be able to do a character pack. For a Lord, we finally do have the High Lich Priest, so this is a Tomb King unit with the laws of Nehekara, Light, Death, or Undeath. This is a brand new lore of magic available through the Undeath factions. The hero is again another Tomb King. This is the Tomb Herald, which is essentially a battle standard bearer, a buffer. Unit-wise, we have the Drakenhof Templars, the Spirit Hosts. We're getting both interpretations of the Morghast, so the Harbingers, and also the Archie. And finally, then, we got 2 big units there with a Coven Throne and, well, I mean, the most important one being the Khemric Titan. This is going to be absolutely huge. So it's a bit of a mix. It doesn't look like we're getting any Vampire Coast units, but it would be lovely, hopefully, if Creative Assembly did add in the Spirit Hosts to the Vampire Coast, as that is something that actually just kept mentioned in the lore, but it's very little there. Now, there's not a lot of screenshots when it comes to Nagash, but, I mean, it's just so cool. Obviously, Dieter Hellschnitt is a big thing. The Spirit Hosts look amazing. Same thing as Nagash and the Morghast, but for me, it's the Khemric Titan. For those not aware, this had rules, but unfortunately never actually had a miniature on the tabletop, despite multiple pieces of art. Any miniatures that you've seen online, well, it wouldn't be a miniature because it's huge, were fan-made because, yeah, people really wanted one on the table. I'm really happy that we're getting a lot of end-time stuff and just a lot of obscure things to fill out the rosters, because I feel like that's going to be really important for just the amount of expectations for the end times. This is a very big plot point, and it's very, very important to Warhammer Fantasy. Despite the fact that a lot of people don't like the plot, myself included, you can't negate the importance of the end times. Next are the Skaven, and this is obviously led by Gracia Thanquol. Now, we do have a lot of units coming in. I think they are getting the most out of the End Times factions. So, campaign features first. We have master plans. Thanquol brings chaos and destruction to his enemies by enacting master plans, raising secret armies to strike from the shadows, conducting dark rituals, and plotting daring heists. He sows mayhem in the world. Things don't always go according to plan though. Unforeseen complications may arise, and setbacks can emerge. If Thanquol can deal with these, he'll see his grand and destructive plans realized. So it seems that they are going to add in a mechanic which shows that he is basically a Scooby-Doo villain. This is what happens with Thanquol in the lore. While he is incredibly powerful, he fails a lot. So it should be interesting to see what they want to do there. Battle playstyle. As a sorceress Greyseer, Thanquol can cast spells from Laws of Plague and Ruin, so you get both. As befits his lofty status, he can also gain access to the infamous dreaded 13th spell. Once unlocked, he's able to ride his twisted Rat Ogre mount and bodyguard Bone Ripper into battle, granting him much higher degree of survivability than other spellcasters, while Bone Ripper himself dishes out significant melee damage. Thanquol can recruit units from across the entire Skaven roster, plus the following new units, including the much feared Screech Verminkin. So he doesn't get Bone Ripper from the start. That's actually kind of sad. It would have been nice to see like the bodyguard version and kind of upgrade him from there, but I guess they've got other plans. Roster wise, it's pretty stacked. So we've got the legendary lord Thanquol with Bone Ripper being his mount. We've got Screech Verminkin, so one of the largest vermin lords as a legendary hero. Then we have lord options, right? There are 4. The Vermin Lords can be the Corruptors, the Warpseer, the Warbringer, and the Deceiver. So how this worked on the tabletop, it's each of them did different things. This is going to be kind of interesting to see how they get recruited more than anything else, because I don't believe that Vermin Lords should be very common. I do believe that they should be maybe a right or something. Unit-wise, we have, well, all the Storm Fiends. This is wild. All 6 of them. Wow, which, I mean, yeah, makes sense. They were only introduced during the End Times. It makes sense to do so. So, melee versions, Grinder Fist, Doomflare, Gauntlets, and Shock Gauntlets, whereas the missile versions, the Rattling Cannons, which were my favorite on the tabletop. They were so horrendously overpowered. Wind Launchers, and then finally Warpfire Projectors. And the thing about this, right, is that each of them do different things. They're basically just Rat Ogres with weapon team attachments, right? But they're really freaking good. And they're quite movable. They're going to be quite interesting here. I hope the Rattling Guns are as stupid as they were back then. Then we do have some other units too. So Pus Bags are being introduced. This is basically a Clan Pestilence unit. It's the introduction of a poisonous type of, well, Skaven Slave. The Warp Doom Magma Cannon. So this is something which is from Siege Book back in the day. It's essentially what they use to do a lot of damage, right? So think of it like, maybe they'll use this actually to blow up the moon. I do hope they'll blow up the moon. And then the last thing, which took me by massive surprise, is the Cauldron of 1,000 Poxes. Again, a Clan Pestilence unit. This is essentially another type of... Think of it like the Coven Throne, I guess, is probably the best way of explaining it. I'm very surprised. Very, very surprised that we're getting this. I don't know if that means that maybe we'll get Plagues for Skrulk. It would be lovely if that's the case. But, I mean, we'll have to wait, right, and see. Alright, so we've got some screenshots. Not gonna lie, everything looks absolutely amazing. The big thing for me was the Storm Fiends. The Rattling Cannon ones bring back a lot of fond memories. Despite the fact that I didn't like the End Times as a setting, I was a Skaven main back in the day, and the win rate that I had dramatically increased upon their release. I am over the moon that they're finally coming in here. They just look so good. I can't wait to see them, how they work fully with animations and the rest. The Magma Doom Cannon is also really freaking cool. Yeah, no, this is a good time for Skaven fans. Very, very big time. And, well, I mean, I guess Skaven did get another Skaven DLC, right? A lot of attention during Warhammer 2. A lot more attention now with with Thanquol. Wow, what a weird thing. It's weird to see them finally kind of just make it into game, right? It's really, really weird. In the best way possible. Alright, we won't spend too long on Boris because I do have a video breakdown already live. And that's going to focus around like the new mechanic, the Great Temple of Ulrich. And when it comes to battle playstyle, I mean, it's, you know, it's melee. So, This is something quite important here. Like, we do get a bunch of new units, right? So the Legendary Lord is Boris himself. The Ulrich is the Legendary Hero. We get some pretty cool Ulrich theme stuff all around. The generic Lord option is the Seneschal of the White Wolf, very focused on melee, as you can imagine. The Priest of Ulrich, which is basically just another warrior priest, but with different types of abilities. Unit-wise, we get the Wolfkin, Hunting Hounds, Warriors of Ulrich, Tutogen Guard, Knights of the White Wolf, Knights Panther, and then the one thing that kind of stands out there is the Celestial Hurricaneum, because there's really not a lot of stuff for the Empire left. I'm pretty happy about this overall. I think it's actually kind of important that everything is getting themed in. Celestial Hurricaneum has been requested for years. I'm just really happy to get the 6th edition list coming in. Again, Storm of Chaos stuff. It's really nice when the good point of Warhammer Fantasy makes its way into the game. You know, they keep saying that it's mostly focused on 8th edition, but the fact that they keep going back to 6th is awesome. A lot of these units found themselves being relevant, once again, thanks to the Old World, because you can do an Ulrich-themed list, essentially. Well, mostly focusing around Knights of the White Wolf, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's nice. God, it just feels like everything Warhammer Fantasy is kind of lining up quite nicely, isn't it? I hope you like melee units, because it's going to be a lot of that for the Empire. Keep in mind that they should harmonize quite well. Like I said in the showcase video, there's, like, better melee now, so you can have them in front, have the shooters in the back, and obviously the magic in the, well, protected areas, and you've got a pretty good front line. They're very, very strong. I really loved using the Tutogen Guard. It was really nice because, like, look, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the incentivization to paint them up at the moment. I've got the models, obviously, you know, they've been here for a while, but so Total War, the strength that it's had for me is DLC will come out, it'll bring out some units. It's like, oh my god, now I can, you know, feel incentive to paint that up, and it's always nice. And finally, we have the Glottkin. So not a lot of units, but a lot of legendary heroes. Right, let's start off with the campaign feature, the Gifts of Nurgle. The Glottkin spread corruption and harvest souls to gain Gifts of Nurgle, a range of faction, character, and settlement enhancements known as Rituals of Decay and Grandfather's Blessings. The noisome triplets also generate significant levels of Nurgle's corruption in the lands through which they travel, conquering settlements and transforming them into Gardens of Nurgle. So, like, their own specific types of settlements, it seems, which is going to be kind of interesting. I do hope they fixed up the clear issues with the Dark Fortresses, though, because you know, there's not enough when you play as Warriors of Chaos factions. And I do imagine if they've, like, decided this is going to be a Warriors of Chaos faction, they're likely going to have to look at that. So we got another feature here, Gardens of Nurgle. And it says here, the Glottkin blur the boundary between the mortal world and Nurgle's realm by creating Gardens of Corruption. Alright, so it's just the same thing as before. Fruitful settlements which can ultimately grant... Yes, I didn't read prior, I was just going from one section to one section. Grant the Glottkin access to a higher proportion of demonic Nurgle units than any other Warriors of Chaos faction. Gardens of Corruption also generates plagues, which the Glottkin can spread across the world. Oh, nice. This actually would be kind of cool, because, like, that means that, you know, Kugath takes advantage of that. I imagine also, well, pretty much all the Nurgle factions get a benefit from this. So... yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. It means I can finally do a co-op with some friends and just all of us play Nurgle. Now, battle playstyle. Scythe-wielding Otto and the sorceress Ephrak ride to battle atop the shoulders of their brother Gurk, a vast and corpulent spawn of Nurgle. They combine their physical and magical might in battle, acting as a single monstrously powerful combatant. Commanding units from the Warriors of Chaos and Demon rosters for Nurgle, the Glottkin can assemble punishing and highly resilient armies bolstered by a significant number of new legendary heroes and battle units. Yeah, they had to go with saying the units. I mean, cool. They all come together, which is why I thought it's weird that Thanquol, you have to unlock Bone Ripper. But yeah, I mean, let's continue. So, Legendary Lord, you've got the Glottkin. Legendary heroes. There's Gutrot Spume, which, I mean, we all kind of expected. And then the three Magath Riders, so Mordebex Twice Spawned, Blobe Rot Spawned, and Orgut's Demon Spew. That's so many legendary heroes in one go. This is wild. I mean, it's kind of expected at the end of the day, because they were all introduced during the end times. Why not, man? Why not? Putrid Blight Kings we know are 3 variants, so this is the Axe and Shield, the Great Weapons and Dual Axes. Then we got the Great Spine Chaos Beast, so this is something that was actually shown in artwork way back in the day when the art book was released, right before the release of Warhammer 3. Flarekin are being added in, so this is a corrupted, kind of, well, mutated, experimented on unit from essentially the Skaven. So a bunch of marauders getting trapped by the Skaven, getting tortured, and that's what you get. The Chaos Siege Giant, and then finally the Basilisk. These are units that we've already known about for quite some time now. Yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. Hopefully there's a few units going to different factions and the rest, because that would be great. And who knows what's going to happen with the legendary heroes. I imagine that if they can be used by Archeon, you can probably do a 20 stack of heroes with Monkeyman. So silly, man. But it makes sense. Why not? There's not really a lot of screenshots when it comes to the Nurgle stuff. I guess it's because they did a very big reveal for them. But I'm really, really excited to get using the Blight Kings and the rest. I feel like this is going to be super, super fun. The Nurgle had such amazing model releases during the end times, so I'm really happy that we're going to see them here too. I imagine that these will also be found with like the Nurgle factions and the rest. I wonder who is going to get what, right? Like, I'm expecting Norska to get some stuff. I'm expecting the Beastmen to get some stuff too. Let's hope at least. But yeah, Chaos DLC, always very exciting because a lot of factions actually just benefit from it. And then obviously we have some information with the free Legendary Lord and Game Update, which is stuff that we've already known. Neferata is the Legendary Lord for the Vampire Counts, including a rework for them and a rework for Archeon specifically, all new game scenarios, which we know enough, and victory conditions, which we know is hitting everyone, right? There's a lot of other stuff in this, but not a lot of information is coming in, like Devastation and the rest. I imagine that they're going to do blog posts at some point or more streams. Apparently the DLC is already available to pre-order, which, I mean, I kind of like that they didn't do pre-orders prior, but I guess like Sega might have pushed for it or something. I feel like it's a lot more honest when it's like buy on the day, but for those who are pretty much instantly going to buy, go for it, you know. I'm obviously not going to judge you, and yeah, I'm not going to have a good boy link. I want to keep to the whole no financial incentive type of thing from like pre-orders on my own channel. I feel like that's the most honest way to go. You guys will get a lot of content as per usual, and you'll be able to see everything. I just feel like that, personally for me, I'm not shading other content creators or whatever. It's just personally for me, I think that's the best way to go. But this is exciting. 2 videos today, which is pretty exciting. I do have access to the 10-turn build for Boris, so there might be a few other videos coming out. We'll have to see from there. There's not much that I can do with 10 turns, like, I'll be very honest with you, but that's going to be there. We do have to wait until September the 24th until it releases, so I imagine that they'll probably start all the embargoes shortly after Gamescom, if not at the start of September. Which is going to be kind of awkward, because I will be at a tournament of Warhammer World at that point. Honestly, this happens so often now. I plan for stuff, or I sign up to stuff, and then Total War gets busy. Oh boy. Oh well. We'll see how it goes. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon. The other videos on the channel hopefully won't be too long until we start getting some more detailed news. Have a good one. Bye.